You know that subtle feeling that something is off, right? In some area of your life. I felt this a lot in my past relationship, but I've also felt it in my career too. That subtle little feeling inside, that little sense of discomfort that's like, I'm going through the motions, I'm doing what I need to do, but something's off here. Something just doesn't sit right in my body. It's so subtle and so quiet. It's so easy to dismiss, right? Because the feeling that I'm talking about, it's not coming on the tail end of some explosive event, right? Or some obvious, like there's not something screaming at you, hey, this is hurting you. This is not right for you. This is not aligned. No, it's whispering. It's whispering to you. Something's not right here. I mean, I feel like that's such a common human experience, right? And when we feel that, and let's say things are settled, right? Things are really grounded where they are. In other words, if I really look at this, if I really sit down with this feeling and I really unpack it, I know that something big is going to have to change. Something is going to shift. Maybe it has to do with the relationship. Like, really, if I sit down and really admit to myself that something just doesn't feel right between me and this person, then I'm going to have to face the inevitable consequences of that. And I think there is an intelligence to that. I think it's our bodies can tell us when it's time to actually move and when it's time to just kind of ride, right? Well, this conversation, this particular episode today is for those of you who are feeling the pressure from your intuition to move, to sit with it, to finally look at it. And I don't know how many times that I've felt that pressure for so long. And then finally it came to a head. And most of the time, I'm very different about it now. Most of the time, I wouldn't even look at it. I wouldn't even acknowledge it until there was something big happening. I would ignore that little subtle voice inside of me that said, "Oh, this isn't right." Because I didn't have some kind of something happening outside of me that seemed justified. In other words, how I felt, my intuition, my inner fucking knowing, it wasn't enough, which translates to a subtle belief that says, I am not enough. It does go that deep if you really look at it. And so I'm not coming on this to pressure anybody or to make them feel like, oh, you got to make a move now. No. But I think awareness is incredibly helpful here and so important because this is not the only time that you're going to experience this kind of pressure inside. That's like, ooh, something's off. Can we do something about it? Like, what? Why are we just sitting in this, right? Like, we're going to experience these levels of pressure or this, like, that nudge to shift, that inner knowing that says something doesn't align quite right here. We're going to experience that throughout our lives in different ways. But when you're not used to trusting yourself, when trusting yourself feels risky, and you're used to shrinking and adapting to the situation, the circumstance, you're used to making yourself fit, if you will, rather than owning your own knowing, owning how you feel. It can make these moments feel bigger than what they actually have to be. It can make it seem like the whole world's going to fall out from underneath you if you look at this. If you look at this thing, if you admit this thing to yourself. So I wanted to get on here and have a little real talk about this that I hope is going to leave you feeling more empowered and more rooted within yourself. more safe to listen to what's going on inside. So the first thing that I wanted to say to you is that it is normal to feel like this, oh, this creeping emotional pressure, this like fear of facing a truth that's going to ultimately change your life. Like that's normal. And I think so many of us, we resist it, and we resist it because we think that something's wrong with us because we're not okay, or we're not just grateful for what we have and wanting more. That's a normal human thing. And the only reason why it feels like it's a bad thing is because we've been shamed for it. We've been shamed for wanting more by people who didn't feel like they could give us more. And so instead of just admitting that, they put it on you. How dare you want more? How dare you not just shut up and accept what is? I mean, acceptance, I get it. Yeah, we need to accept. Acceptance is key, but acceptance doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, well, we're staying here. You can accept something and then realize it needs to change. But you were kind of shut down repeatedly. You were taught that it's not okay to rock the boat unless there's like a really detrimental, life-threatening reason to do so. And that's just not the world that we're living in anymore. Like that's not okay. It's not even a healthy place to be in long term, because what we're doing when we're just agreeing and going by despite every signal in our body saying no, 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 we're self-abandoning. And that's not a life well lived. Which is why you're here listening to this. Which is why you do what you do when it comes to your healing and your growth and your personal development. It's why you're in pursuit of a better life experience for yourself. It's why you've been on this journey of trying to understand yourself better, understand your life experiences better. Because a part of you knows deep down it's not sustainable to live in self-abandonment. You've seen others before you do it, and it made you want something different. You got to trust that. So going back to our conversation here, though, it is normal, okay? When we are faced with change that is going to alter our sense of self, or requires us to alter our sense of self in order to get to the other side, if you will, your nervous system is going to be wary of that. It's going to be uncomfortable. That's just a normal physiological response to change. So forgive yourself for that. Forgive yourself for being uncomfortable. You're not weak, and you're not risking failing or anything like that. There's nothing wrong with you for avoiding this in the way that you have. It's an understandable response. But the second thing I want to say to you is that you have full permission to withdraw yourself from a situation. And however you have to, right? Like you got to make that responsible decision. And there is a process to change in a lot of situations, right? It's not just an abrupt, okay, this doesn't feel right, I'm out. Sometimes yes, and if so, awesome. But it's not always that simple. Sometimes there are, like for instance, in a relationship, if you suddenly realize this relationship is not what you want, you finally are honest with yourself and you realize I'm actually settling here. Yeah, that's painful to admit. It's painful to see. And the process of untangling your life from theirs might be painful. And it might require a lot. And so it's understandable that those things are scary to approach and scary to face. But it doesn't mean that you don't have a right to deal with it or to face it or to be honest with yourself and to give yourself what you actually want. You don't need some big kaboom in order to realize that something isn't right for you and to make a change. It is okay to admit, hey, something doesn't feel right here, and to adjust accordingly. And the reason why that's so okay and acceptable is because your intuition is extremely intelligent. Your body is extremely intelligent. and it's picking up on subtleties that your conscious mind might not be. So when you're feeling that, maybe something's not right, maybe like you're with somebody and maybe they're not just blatantly cheating on you or disrespecting you or what the fuck ever, but something just feels off. But yet you feel like you're in too deep to backtrack. That feeling right there, again, your intuition, your body, it's sensing something that your conscious logical mind is not. And it's uncomfortable to reconcile that and to face it and be like, shit, okay. But it's your life at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I mean, do you want to spend this life that you have just being okay with your circumstances? I think the clear answer is no. Some people, sure. Some people are, and that's okay. No judgment. To each their own. But you, the one I'm talking to, you're not okay with it. It creates this like pressure inside of you that feels like it's gonna make you collapse if you don't respond to it. There's only so much avoiding you can do before you have to make a move. And so this is your permission slip and your invitation. You don't have to hit a rock bottom before you decide to make a change. Your intuition, in a lot of ways, is trying to help you around that. You know, it's trying to help prevent that from happening. And I come from a background where like nobody made a change unless like the world was fucking crumbling around you. And I've learned the hard way, you know, like your body's telling you something. I remember the last relationship I entered, my body was telling me very early on that something did not sit right. But because I didn't value myself and I didn't value my perspective, my emotions, I didn't understand that. I ignored it. I thought something was wrong with me. But had I listened to it, and now don't get me wrong, the relationship served a great purpose. So I'm not regretting anything here, but lessons for future experiences. Had I listened, there would be so much pain that I wouldn't have had to experience. Those little whispers in the beginning that were saying, ugh, something doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. This is like this subtle contraction in my body, this subtle way my nervous system just didn't feel at peace around this person. The subtle way whenever I left their presence, I would just feel stressed and worried and just like less than myself. Those subtle little things, those subtle signals, had I listened, maybe I wouldn't have got my heart crushed, right? Maybe I wouldn't have experienced genuine domestic violence. Like not to say that, you know, verbal abuse and mental abuse is not genuine. It absolutely is, but I had experienced those. Those were kind of normal to me, but I never actually had someone physically hurt me and want to physically hurt me. Maybe had I listened to those subtle signals, I wouldn't have experienced that. Again, not judging my experiences, not saying I wish they didn't happen, but I definitely don't want them to happen again. You know, this is definitely a pattern that I don't want to see perpetuate. I want to understand it so I can understand the energy that I'm holding in my body, the identity that I'm creating my life through. I need to understand it so that way I can understand myself. That way I don't repeat the same pattern. And so listening to those little signals and honoring them, even if it implodes something, even if like you're literally about to sign a lease with this person and suddenly your body is saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But you don't have a logical reason to listen. And you're like, I don't want to disappoint this person. They've been good to me. Or I don't want to, whatever. I don't want to be seen as this person or that, whatever. That little subtle, don't do it. When you're really curious about it, I mean, you can decide, you can listen to it, feel it, and it will tell you, oh, I'm just nervous, or this is the wrong choice. It's just about being honest with yourself and actually listening. So it's safe and it's normal and it's healthy for you to listen to the subtle messages coming from your body and to honor them in the way that feels most right to you, regardless of the consequences. And the third thing I wanted to say to you, and this is the last point I wanted to make here. You need to be okay with being uncomfortable. I'm just going to be direct about it. Become okay with discomfort. I mean, this was a huge little wake up call for me too. Like, oh, discomfort's not a bad thing. No. Because you're not here, and you know this, I'm just reflecting you at this point, but you're not here to be the smallest version of yourself. You're not here to be meek and to avoid and hide from life. You're here to live it fully. You're here to occupy your life fully. You're here to get everything you want, not in the egotistical way, but in the, I want to know that when I wake up and when I go to sleep, that I'm living my life fully. Not a life without challenges, no, but a meaningful, well-lived life. That's what you're here for. And if that's what you really want, you got to be okay with being uncomfortable, because that's the sensation of expansion. That's growth. You can't let your fear of that feeling, because fear is just, when we're feeling fear, our thoughts are dark. Okay, you can't let those dark thoughts stop you from seeing what's waiting on the other side of this stretch. Because that's what it is. It's like an inner stretch. Your discomfort is initiating the next version of you into existence. It's burning off the old and revealing the true. It's revealing the version of you that you've been wanting to feel and know intimately. So you got to reframe discomfort. It is your friend. It is a part of your growth. It is not your enemy. And when you understand these things, okay, when you put all this together, when you understand that it's normal to be uncomfortable, and you understand that it's actually healthy that you're registering these signals, that something's not aligned, and that's important feedback, and you honor it in the way that respects your life as you need to, respects those involved, however you need to do it. You're getting the pull that this isn't the right way because there's another way to go, which means that there are steps to be taken. You're not just going to be abandoned by life because you turn this thing down, because you close this door, because you decide to go in a different direction. If you're being pulled in a different direction, there is support waiting for you. But you have to trust yourself in life enough to take that step. So when you understand that it's not a sign of weakness or failure to realize that something's not aligned with you, to start feeling that misalignment in your body and those subtle signals, and you learn to listen to it, and you understand that it's okay to listen to it and it's important to honor it. And then you understand that discomfort is a necessary part of the journey. You really get a chance to be unstoppable. Because now the only thing stopping you, right, from facing this uncomfortable truth and then understanding the most aligned, accurate next step to take, the only thing stopping you from that is your fear of being uncomfortable. Yes, it can look like, I'm afraid to hurt this person, I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that, I'm afraid of disappointing, blah, 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 blah. It can look like that, but that's just the story. The real stopper, the real block is that feeling in your body. And when you stop running from it and you turn around and you face it like the badass that you are, it stops having power over you. And then you get more control of the narrative. Then instead of, oh, I'm going to disappoint this person, it's, I'm not responsible for their disappointment. I'm responsible for my happiness and my health. Then the story changes. And, I'm going to leave it at this, right? if the emotion is that unbearable, if you're just like, I just can't look at it, then you need to tap. What have you got to lose, right? Tap on the karate chop point, address the feeling, even though I feel, insert the specific feeling about this specific problem. I still deeply and completely love and accept myself. I love myself as I am in this moment. I accept myself as I am in this moment. You say these things while tapping, because then you are creating an environment of safety, an inner environment of safety through the tapping itself and giving yourself love and compassion, which guess what? That means that your nervous system is going to say, oh, okay. All right. So you're willing to hear me now. Okay. Well, here's what I'm really feeling. Oh, so I don't feel fully seen in this relationship. I feel like this person is not meeting me where I am, or maybe this job, I think it's going to lead me down a road I don't want to be stuck on, or whatever it is. And you know what's on the other side of this? Like, as you tap through that feeling, if you tap long enough, the feeling will calm down. It might amp up a little in the beginning, but it'll eventually calm down. Your body will relax. You'll be able to think more clearly. And then when you finally get to your truth, when you finally understand yourself, when it finally just goes, aha, that's it. Okay, I know what to do now. Because that will happen. When you finally get to that point and then you honor it, oh man, the intrinsic reward that awaits you for honoring yourself, it's better than anything anyone else can give you. And you gave it to yourself just by doing the thing that you were avoiding, just by admitting the truth to yourself. And it takes what it takes, you know? It's not always this complex, right? Like, it's not always this hard to be honest with ourselves, but in the beginning it is. And that's okay. And you don't need to beat yourself up for that or feel bad about that. You are where you are. Work with what you got. Work with where you are. Judgment helps nothing in this kind of context. It just doesn't do any good. It stifles the growth. So apply this to that situation in your life that's just like eating at you, gnawing at you from the deep, deep, deep innards of your of your world. Like, just apply this to that situation and be curious. You know, be curious about what that feeling is trying to tell you. And maybe it's not asking such a big dramatic shift from you after all. Maybe it just wants acknowledgement. And then maybe everything will take care of itself. Either way, at the end of the day, you get to rest your head at night knowing that you have got you. Even if nobody else does. Even if everything else fails. Even if you just have a huge tower moment, you've got you. And everything's going to be okay because of that. No matter what's on the other side of this. But okay, my friends, that's all I had for you today. I hope this lifts your spirits. I hope it leaves you feeling stronger in whatever you're facing. And I hope you have some clear steps in your hands, in your toolbox now, to help you navigate this with consciousness, with presence and compassion for yourself and anyone involved. I believe in you. You've got this. And if you need me, if you need to work through this with someone who's been there, who understands the emotional nuance and can create that safe space for you, I have spaces open for March in my one-on-one intensive Unmasked. That's where we do the work together. But otherwise, you got this, baby. I love you, and I'll see you in the next episode.